So, welcome to another episode of Stories from a Bar. I'm your host, Chris Osborne. For this episode, I'm hanging out with Zack Baumgartner from Chicago, Illinois pop punk band When the Sun Sets. How are you, man?
Good. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out. I'm looking forward to chatting. I've been a fan of the
Same.
band for a while, and we were just talking uh, before I hit the record button. I totally messed up Chicago, New York time. So I'm still trying to come down off that high a little bit as I
Yeah.
realized, as I thought Chicago was 2 hours behind and it was only one. And it was sheer chance that I just happened to look at my phone. I'm like, I should probably verify this because this is what I've literally been, this has been my train of thought for like 2 weeks since I started talking to Tabitha, who set this up.
Yeah.
So, for anyone out there that doesn't know, I'm sitting here in New York. I love beer and love music. So when I'm talking to musicians and stuff like that, I like to have a beer myself and help promote some of the local places around because we have some great breweries that, again, awesome have great artists and stuff that play at them. Great local music scene. So I like to give a shout out to these guys when I can. So Bolton Landon Brewing Company is the beer I'm drinking for this episode. It's about an hour north, little over an hour north of me. So I don't know how familiar you are with New York. I'm in a town called Schenectady,
Okay.
which nobody can pronounce when I say it. But it's kind of right by Albany, so the capital.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have been through here on tour or not.
Never. No,
Oh,
we
really?
actually just booked our first run. Later this year, we're going to be heading through for our first time. So
Nice. Yeah. So Albany has a couple good spots where we get some great punk shows. This place called Empire Live. So actually just saw what the last time I was there, I think was for Bad Religion. That may have been last year. But I've caught a lot of great bands there. They usually have a good lineup. I caught Jimmy Eat World there,
oh, nice.
which is my favorite band. Of course, I have this poster behind me. Actually ended up meeting the drummer before the show at the restaurant that's
No
right next
way.
door to it. Yeah, so that was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm drinking this beer from Bolton Landon Brewing Company, some Pinnacle Sunrise. It's a little light. It is a work night for me, so
Yeah.
can't go too hard.
No, no, not on a Tuesday.
No, not that I don't want to.
Of course, of course.
uh, but Zach, again, thanks for hanging out, man. Vocals, guitar, When the Sun Sets. So I've known about the band for about a year, and I've gotten more into the music over that time as I've listened to it, going listening to the catalog and everything. And it's funny because I discovered you guys. I use Spotify. I sometimes I feel bad about it because I know it can, just because of it rips artists off essentially. But I try to use it as a tool to find new bands
Mhm.
and bring people on for the podcast and help try to promote stuff at least. And I found you guys through the band Free Friends because I got
Yes,
to
from Baltimore.
yes, I got to know Ben, Lauren, and Gil a little bit. They've been on the podcast a couple times. I got to be a big fan of them. I actually drove out to Oneana when they came through and checked
Oh,
out.
wow.
Yeah, and was able to catch their show there, which was awesome. But you guys were on the song "Goodbye and Goodnight," which is fucking awesome. It's a
Oh,
great
thank
song.
you. I appreciate it.
But yeah, so that's what led me to you guys. How long has When the Sun Sets been going?
We started in like I'd say early 2018. I think our first single was September 2018. Um, so just about 7 years. Yeah.
Wow, does it feel like it's been that long already?
Um, Not really. I mean, there's a lot of like phases that have come and gone. I started it when I was in high school, so it was a lot of us that were just trying to figure out what we wanted to do with our lives. Um, I think these past couple of years though, it's just like it's gone real quick. It's just like blink of an eye.
So So who's in the band now? Because I read a couple conflicting lineups.
Yes, of course, yeah. Right now I have myself. I'm just doing vocals. Rob Hlavka, he's been in the band playing bass for about 3.5 years now. Ryan Konezny, he's been playing a little over a year now in the band, lead guitar. And then we have Anthony Quinones. He plays rhythm. He's been here, I think, about 9 or 10 months now. And then Adam Gay is our drummer. He just joined about a year ago as well. So yeah, that's the solidified lineup. We were going with a lot of fill-ins, just trying to find the right, the right group, because we're at a point in our career where we're putting out like our first full length finally. And we
Mhm.
really wanted to have that perfect lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys have a couple EPs out. The last one came out in 2023, I believe. You and Me for Never,
Yeah.
which was solid EP, and we'll talk more about that later on because like I said, as I just listened through all the songs you guys have, you can I feel like it's pretty clear the evolution you can hear in both musicianship, lyrics, and just overall composition. You guys really have just even from that EP through the singles you've released for
Thank you.
24 and 25 of you can really hear the improvement there. But you guys are from Chicago, and I admittedly have not been from Chicago. Now, are you actually originally from there, or is this just did you end up moving there and this is where the band got
Well,
together?
yeah, we were all born in the Chicago area. We say Chicago, but most of us are just spread out throughout the suburbs. It's just easier to say Chicago.
That's fair.
Between 20 to 50 minutes out from the city. But yeah, I mean, we've been here the whole time. I went to high school out in the suburbs, and that's where I kind of just started learning about music, and that's where the band started. So
That's got to be a hell of a music scene to kind of be immersed in growing up as you get interested in music. A lot of huge bands that have come out there, a lot of
mhm.
even small great bands. Actually, one of my favorites. I don't know if you're familiar with them, Lucky Boys Confusion.
Yeah, we love Lucky Boys.
Fucking,
I think we're
uh,
actually supposed to be on a show with them.
are you really?
Yeah, at some point. I don't know if it's all solidified yet, but I did see their name come
Dude,
across.
yeah, I've fucking listened to them for years, and I still go back
Yeah,
to
our
them.
bass player is him and Stubby go back like probably 15 years just
Oh,
playing in
really?
bands, just crossing paths. So
I was lucky to catch them once. They did come up and play Saratoga, this crappy, which is again about a half hour north of where I am. This like crappy barn looking
oh my
music
gosh.
place that looked like it was gonna fall down. I did catch them there, and I briefly met Stubby because I bought the EP from him as he was
Yeah.
walking around. But yes, that was just that was a weird place, man.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a
I wish they
weird
were
place.
able to tour more, man, for sure.
But yeah, what kind of influence has coming up in a place like Chicago had on you and how you got into music and stuff like that?
I mean, I was immersed pretty hardcore into like metal, like right away. So like metal was huge. Probably like early 2000s here, like the Slipknots and stuff like that. I'd say as far as influence goes, it would be like A Day to Remember. We got like State Champs, a lot of your like Warp Tour bands, Newfound Glory, Bayside, and like as the members have come in, probably our bassist probably brings the most like conflicting inspirations, just because he's from the generation right before us. So he brings a lot of the old school pop punk, and like really we try to blend all that in together. But yeah, I mean, inspiration is probably A Day to Remember, Real Friends, State Champs, Knuckle
It's
Puck.
actually State Champs is from my area up here,
Yeah,
the Albany
Albany.
area
Yeah,
here. Yeah. In fact, I don't know if it was not last year, maybe it was the year before. Albany does this summer concert series. They set up a state free series and they played under an overpass
oh my gosh,
in Albany for free.
wow.
Yeah. In fact, the lineup they're doing this year, Boys Like Girls, is coming for a free
Oh my
show.
gosh, that's huge,
Oh
dude.
yeah, every Thursdays through June and July.
Dang, man,
So
that's
it's
stacked.
awesome because it's like a I don't know if they bill it as the pop punk or emo night or something, but they usually have one and they usually bring in I mean not even that just that genre, a couple surprisingly great bands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
so I'm looking forward to that. Uh so here's a question. I was thinking about this the other day as I was driving my car and a Boys to Men song came on because Boys to Men was their album 2 was probably one of the first CDs I ever had. That and Dookie and admittedly probably a Gloria Estefan CD because as you're a kid, you don't have control over everything you listen to.
Exactly.
You remember what your first album was?
Mm, I think it was called Black Rain. It's an Ozzy Osbourne album.
Nice.
Yeah, just one of his solo albums. I think that was my first.
That's yeah, my dad would force country on me, and luckily I had an older brother that was a metalhead.
Oh, I
So
love it.
he would help steer me away from that. And that's how I got into Ozzy and everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, my dad put me right into Ozzy and Rob Zombie.
And
Yeah.
it was probably gonna happen anyway because my last name's Osborne, so everybody
Oh,
just
there
calls
you
me
go.
Ozzy.
There you go.
Like, it's weird growing up having teachers calling you Ozzy, bosses that have called me out. I'm like, "This seems a little inappropriate for the setting, but I'm cool with it."
Yeah, 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 for real.
So we talked a little bit about the members that have come in and out. Uh, so that's kind of how the band came together. When the Sun Sets. It's an interesting name. So how did you guys come up with this one?
Yeah, so the band name initially just came out of a friend and I. I decided I wanted to make this into a band instead of a solo project, and we sat down and he's like, "Well, you're going to need a Facebook page, and we're going to need to make a name." And I'm like, "All right, well, I wanted to do As the Sun Sets. I just thought it sounded cool, and he looked it up on Facebook and cross-checked it, and he's like, "Well, that was a punk band from like the early 2000s or something, so you're probably going to want to just change it a little bit." Um, so yeah, we changed it to When the Sun Sets just because, As the Sun Sets was taken initially. And we really like challenged ourselves in the first, year to really figure out what that means to us.
Hmm.
And I think as our first single came out, it was very apparently like a suicide awareness and mental health awareness song called The Wave that we wrote to like one of our fans that we had met. Um, and we realized like when the sun sets, like meaning like nighttime is like kind of for me at least is when a lot of my deep feelings hit me. um you're like winding down, you're just reflecting, and so yeah, I mean, to us now, like probably for the last 6 years, that's been what when the sun sets means to us.
That I get that 100% because I hardly sleep great anyway. But it's like I constantly find myself in a state where I could be falling asleep at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I can't wait to lay down, and then my
Yep.
mind just goes.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly, exactly.
Certainly to not great places all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, of course.
But so when was that something that dawned on you, like when you were writing that first song, like the mental health aspect or anything? Like, did you know that was a direction you were kind of going in and would focus on, or was it just kind of a natural feeling for it?
I mean, I think for me, when I wrote that first song, I was struggling in my life trying to help somebody, or I was getting over some things in my life, going to therapy and stuff like that, and trying to help somebody else that I saw going down like a similar path. And so, once the song was out, I think we realized how it hit people, um, and that's when we were just like, you know what, like that's more than just music.
Mhm.
And it's been like a mission for us since then. So
That's yeah, you because everything I read about the band and you hear it in the lyrics and stuff, big mental health focus, which is awesome. I've kind of been more focused on mental health over the last year and a half or so myself, uh,
yeah,
since a parent of mine passed away back in 23. So I've
glad to hear
been
that.
no, I appreciate it. So music's been a big refuge for me and kind of talking to people and kind of going down that road.
Hmm.
How do you deal with like stressful times when you're feeling down and stuff like that? Or even more, the stress of touring? Like what kind of toll can that take on your mental health and how would you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think from the touring aspect, we'll start with definitely having that support system around you. I'm lucky to have the guys that we have. Obviously, touring is, like you said, it's very stressful. There's always highs and lows.
Mhm.
But knowing that you have a support system to fall back on that will always, love you for you and support you. I mean, that's the most strong you'll ever feel, even at like your weakest point in touring. I think as far as like every day to day, I use music as a crutch now. But I've used therapy, I've used medications, and I tell people like not to shy away from that because like sometimes you just need a little extra help. But lately it's just been a lot of writing, a lot of listening, and just reflecting. Trying to like think deeply about things.
That is actually, that's something I've been thinking about doing myself is getting back into even just writing crappy poems or something. Because I remember doing that a lot, like between classes in college and stuff like that when I was super stressed out, just
Yeah.
fucking just sitting somewhere. Uh, one school I went to, I could found this quiet place like above the library that just had a lookout over the entire campus. So I just sit there
Oh wow.
and kind of just write rhyme and stuff. I'm like, that actually, and thinking back, I'm like, that was actually kind of therapeutic. I remember
Hmm.
feeling better doing that stuff, and it's uh I was just thinking about trying to do that again the other night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's truly like any outlet that you can use. And I mean, as for stuff like that, for creative stuff, I mean, there's nothing stopping you eventually from just releasing that and helping other people with that. It's just like that's kind of what the culture we're trying to help build to is like we're anybody who consumes art knows that it can be used as a therapy, and so like you're just pushing that to other people.
So it's interesting. So when you go from kind of getting into that to help yourself to a situation where now you're making music and it's touching other people and
Hmm.
you're hearing some of their stories, what's that like for you and the rest of the guys?
Yeah, I don't know if there's words that could really explain it. I mean, like I think most of our interactions that we have when people are telling, if not everyone, telling us their story, it really just like changes the course of our lives. I know it sounds a little dramatic, but like the outlook that everybody has on different situations, some of them being the same situation, whether it's falling into depression or drinking habits or something like, you know what I mean?
Well,
As,
unfortunate timing as I went to lift my beer.
oh my gosh, yeah, the timing on that was legendary. Um, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. That was so funny. Um, oh God, can we circle back?
People's stories, what they mean to you.
Yes. Okay. So like going through the same situation, everybody handles it differently, and I think listening how your music can impact somebody to turn themselves around through therapy or just writing, like we were talking about, using any outlet to help them. I mean, it does change your life. It really does. Like it gives us a spark every time we talk to somebody like that. Every time we get an Instagram comment that says, your song has helped me. Like truly, that we always say this on stage. Like if we can help one person every day, like truly, we feel like we're doing our job and we're making a difference, and we're going to continue to try to grow that number every single day we're here. So.
That's awesome. When it comes to when you started making music, what was it like? You obviously we talked about you were into metal and stuff like that. What was it kind of about the punk and pop punk scene that really spoke to you?
I think honestly, funny enough, it was just kind of naturally a pop punk song, the first one I wrote. I was writing, so I've been a acoustic artist for 2 years at that point when I started the band, just doing covers in bars and writing my own acoustic songs. And so I just decided to put together a backing band. And when we wrote like our first song together, I brought it in, and it just felt like pop punk, and that's what a lot of us had been listening to. We were all in high school, so it kind of made sense. Um, and like once that first song came out, we challenged ourselves on the next two, and that first EP, just be like, okay, what are we? Like, are we just a rock band? I think by the Transparent EP, which is our second studio EP, I think we really had it figured out. Like, we're gonna full sail, just go for pop punk. Like, this is what we love to write. This is what we love to listen to. It's therapeutic. It goes with our message a lot.
Mhm.
And I think everything just kind of fell naturally. Like our songwriting kind of just was emo.
Oh, that's awesome. I remember when as a kid being vehemently against uh anything just wasn't into essentially.
Mhm.
Like that's country, no, that sucks. I'm not gonna listen to hip hop. I'm thanks to my brother, I'm just metal now. And
Yep.
everything else just tune it out. Luckily, my worldview opened as I got older. And like I think what really got me into punk myself was like the Punkorama compilation albums.
Yes.
That really opened me up, and I got into pop punk and skate punk, and I listen to anything now. Like I love all kinds of music now. Singer songwriter. I still not a big fan of country or Dave Matthews. Uh,
Yeah. That's funny because the photographer that just photographed us shot Dave Matthews Band right after.
I like
Oh.
they come and play Saratoga because it has an here like 2 nights every year. I'm like
Oh,
because it's a
no.
giant amphitheater. I'm like, if the stage collapses, it collapses.
Yeah, right. 2 times every year.
Yeah, I'm like that seems unnecessary.
It's the Dave Matthews weekend every year.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Saratoga goes fucking crazy for it. Ugh. No, but like, yes, my musical taste is band, but I always kind of come back to like pop punk and kind of just skater punk is like my first love because and it's weird because as I gotten older, yes, some of the bands age with me. Uh, But then there's all these young kids, which I know are much younger than me, but they're still making this fucking awesome music. And I'm still just as into it. And it still hits from, kids probably half my age uh, to still listening to Jimmy Eat World and new tunes that
Yep.
they come out with now. It's such a weird range to hear the bands that got me into it being used as references for all these new bands I'm
Mhm.
started to listen to.
Well, I think that's what's nice about pop punk is like it's gone in like waves, but it's never disappeared. So you always have your staple artists like that. And it's like now, yeah, like you said, now we're in a time where we're shifting to where like the next generation might be like, oh, we're going like the state champs, the real friends, and like never mention Newfound Glory or 4 Year Strong or all the staple bands from
Oh
back in the
yeah.
day.
Um, yeah, it's just weird. It's a great time.
It is a great time, yeah, for
Eh,
sure. You're
it is
getting inspiration all
it
over.
is yeah, it's all over the place. I feel like pop punk is exploding again as long as you're into it and out there
Hmm.
looking for it and stuff like that. But let's talk about some of your music that's come out.
Yeah.
Been listening to it ever since again I came across you guys listening to Free Friends. Uh your last EP came out in 2023, You and Me for Never. So a little over 2 years ago, working towards a full length, right?
Yep. Yeah. We got it all finished. We're
Oh,
we're in the final
nice.
stages. So yeah.
Because you guys have been of course, since that EP, there's been a number of singles you guys have released,
Yep.
including two awesome covers, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Kudos to the old Blink classic M&Ms.
Appreciate that.
I'm
Thank you.
like,
That was one of
oh
my
man,
favorite Blink songs growing up. So like, I'm so glad we've heard that a couple times where people have heard Eminem's. I'm like, I'm so glad that people dig deep for the old stuff.
yeah, man. Because I hopped on that bandwagon with Dude Ranch and then went back and listened to Carousel
Yep. Yep.
and everything. But yeah, M&M's was the song I remember most from Cashier Cat and just
Yes.
anything before Dude Ranch, and
Yeah.
it's still a banger.
It is. Yeah. I think with that one, we were just like, what is a song like from Blink that didn't get the recording quality it deserved? Because like the song is there.
Yeah,
So we were just like, we got to try this out. I don't know if anybody will like it.
no man, you guys did an awesome job in that one, and you guys just put out your cover of Post Malone's
Yeah. I had
song.
some help.
I had some. Thank you. I don't know. I completely just blanked on the name, even though I lost it on my screen somewhere. What was the motivation behind covering that one besides it just being a huge song that is everywhere?
Well, so we are on the cover train now. Once a year, I think we told ourselves we're at least going to do a cover just to keep things fresh. But with Eminem's, it was very like we're going pop punk to just kind of more higher quality recording, still a pop punk song.
Mhm.
So this one we were like, let's challenge ourselves not only like to get like a top 10 Billboard song that is already huge, but let's get something that's not like quite in our genre. So we had it like nailed down to like Shabuzi's like a bar song, or it was I Had Some Help, and like all the guys were like, when I walk into Walmart, I hear the song all the time, so we should just probably just go for it.
I think you made the right choice. I'm admittedly not as big a fan of the Shabuzi song. That's gotten so much radio airplay up here too, and
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah,
like
I had some help. It's just a little more palatable to everybody. Like it doesn't get as old as quick
yeah.
to me. So we were like, you know what? I Had Some Help was the move, and we just got to perform it on a mechanical bull for the first time last weekend. So that was cool.
On a mechanical bull.
On the mechanical bull, yeah, we're gonna have that on our Instagram pretty soon.
Awesome. Oh man. So what's the songwriting process like for you guys now? How'd you go? Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it still
so for this, I guess our old songwriting process was just me and an acoustic guitar. That's kind of all I knew.
Mhm.
This last studio EP has been great because all the guys have just come for writing sessions. A lot of them, I'll have some ideas started. We'll go through like 20 ideas, and when the right one pops out, the guys are always like, you know what, let's go with this one. So we just been lately we've been writing about once a week on live stream, and then I'm writing and working on the things on the songs between the sessions, and they've all just come to life like that. And our producer obviously is he's been a huge help too. He's like our secret member. We take him a song and he's just like, I see where you want to go with this. So
That I imagine that's always quite helpful. Yes.
Oh yeah, it is.
I think is Undertow's the latest song to be out, I believe, with the band Definitely Maybe. I've been listening to, well, Spotify groups everything together as EPs, but
Yeah,
what they call the Undertow EP with Undertow, Serotonin Sunrise, and
yeah, yeah.
Villain, they group those together. Uh, I've had that on repeat so much, man, since that's come out. Probably, actually, if they put up my Spotify, did my best of or most listened to list right now, I bet When the Sun Sets is probably number one because Serotonin Sunrise, man, that's probably my favorite
No way! Wow, I
that
love
you
that.
that you guys have come out with, and just since the EP.
Well, thank you.
Um, so when you're looking at the tracks you guys have done so far, is there a song? I won't say favorite track or anything like that, but one where you're looking at like, oh man, I can't believe we were able to pull this off, like a real standout for you.
Um, well, I guess for me it would be tied between Undertow. Usually the new songs get in there though, so I'll preface it with an older one that we just never, especially now, like where the band is that we worked with now. We have a song out called Seasons featuring the home team.
Yep.
Um, and just seeing that song is still like holding up. And as the home team's getting bigger, people are finding it and being like, "Oh my gosh, I found you through the home team." It's just like, it's super cool. We never thought that just through that song people would find us through the home team. And like, I remember we brought them through a couple of times in like 2019 pre-COVID, and we played to like 40 people together, and it's like fast forward after COVID, these guys are selling out places. It's amazing. So I think like now more than ever, we're just like, I cannot believe that we were blessed enough to be able to work with Brian and those guys. I think Seasons would be it. Yeah.
Nice. Collaboration wise, because Definitely Maybe's on Undertow.
Yep.
You just talked about the home team. Is the is collaboration something that are you writing songs with bands in mind? Is collaborations big? Like again, I mean that's how I found you guys. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's happening even more and more between all the in the pop punk scene. You're
Yeah.
going to listen to one artist and they more and more constantly are having other bands on, which is awesome.
hmm Yeah. I
Be-
can't speak for every artist, but I know like for our strategy, like we do get all the songs fleshed out with a main vocal throughout the whole thing, and it'll be later that we're like, you know what, this part of the song like really it feels like this band. So like Shapeshifter, we had like a really we had a laid back like vibey second verse, and that like reminded me of some of the stuff that 408 had done up to that point. So later on we were just like, you know what, we're just gonna rip the verse we had. We'll send it over to 408. We'll have him write the lyrics. We love to have like all the art. We don't like to pre-write the lyrics for the artists that come in. We like them to
Mhm.
just vibe off the songs. So yeah, I mean, pretty much just have a finished product, and we'll go back at the end and be like, you know what, I think this could really use some collaboration, or it's calling for this artist, or
Nice. Uh, like I said, you've released a lot of singles over the last 2 years since the EP came out, uh, building towards the full length. And I already mentioned this. I feel like you can hear just improved all around, just the growth in the music and lyrical style and just overall composition, just the smoothness you guys are playing together.
oh, well, thank you. I
Like,
appreciate that, man.
how has the response been to a lot of these songs for you guys?
It's been crazy. I don't think any of us could have prepared for it. We've been like touring a lot more this year on these songs too, and just seeing brand new faces, and hearing like how these songs have impacted people. Um, Even like Serotonin Sunrise, like you're saying, it's a falling in love song. Um, all of these new ones have had people come up to us just and be like, that's my favorite song of yours now," and so like I think that definitely pushes us 100%. The response has been insane on them.
Uh, yeah, 'cause I will admit I kind of flip flop between Serotonin, a couple songs. It depend just kind of depending on the mood I'm in. But Serotonin Sunrise is probably at the top, but I also going to go back and forth between that one, Villains, Honest.
Oh yeah, Honest is that's a fan favorite.
Like that's uh, that one feels almost a little. That one has edge to it that some of the others don't have, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, and matching jet skis was a bad idea. Like the song, just the title caught my attention at first. So I'm like, it's an awesome song, but I got to ask about the title because this is, well, if you're just a casual person looking at all the titles and stuff, like that's the only one where you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was my bassist, Rob, who came up with that title. We were always like talking about should we do the old school Fall Out Boy Hot Mulligan, like weird long title that doesn't make any sense, um,
Oh
and
yeah,
just see
that's
if
right.
it still works. And we're like, you know what, that we'll try it for one song and see how it works. And so he had like a list of ideas of
Oh,
these
so he was prepared.
funny. Oh, he's always prepared. We're dropping another one on the record, and he probably had 150 different song titles for that one. But you just know it when you see it, you know it.
No, man, yeah, that one sticks. That definitely stuck. Um, so touring wise, you guys are you in the middle of something right now?
No, we just been doing weekenders. Dodging losing the day jobs right now,
That's
working
fair.
around the PTO. But the last 3 weekends we've been out, like St. Louis, Milwaukee, we went to Baltimore last weekend. Then we did a massive hometown headliner the weekend before. So it's, or not headliner, hometown opener for our friends Fluorescence, who had their biggest headliner to date. So yeah,
I know that name. I think
Fluorescence is, you got to check them out, man.
I want
Fluorescence is,
maybe I have and I just don't remember.
they're the dudes from Chicago. They are the pop punk band for sure.
I will remember that one for sure.
Yes.
So when it comes to touring, what's your favorite aspects of touring?
Um, I think just being free with my friends. Like I think that sounds. I mean, it sounds like it's all fun and games. There really is a lot of work, a lot of driving, lack of sleep. But I think just being there with my friends, being able to play songs for even for a short time for a living, you know,
Mhm.
um, I think that's probably the greatest thing any of us will ever do. You know, is just getting to do that and be with each other and not have to be at a day job for right now. You know, you get to
That's
see the country.
anything that's not a day job always sounds like a
Right.
positive. So,
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
all right, go to snack when you guys have to make a pit stop. Then
Mine would be combos.
combos. Okay, I don't know if I've
Yeah,
had
we got a
those in
couple guys that do the
over a
combos.
decade.
Yeah, and yeah, not a healthy snack, but definitely great
I
for the road.
no judgment there. I mean, I eat a bunch.
They keep you awake for sure.
You guys have any pre-show rituals you like to do?
Um, Usually just right when we get on the stage and our intro is rolling for the set, we usually just give fist bumps all around, tell the guys we love each other, and have a good set. That's pretty much it. No like no crazy rituals yet.
Yeah. You'll get there.
Yeah, I
You
know,
will get
right?
there. So going from your last EP, again, all of your awesome music's on Spotify for right now for anyone to check out and other streaming platforms. You and Me for Never, like you said, a little about it 2 years ago, you wrapping up a full length. Um, talked about the growth you can hear just listening through those, but what kind of lessons, if any, have you taken from that time when you were recording that EP into recording the album? Was there anything that like hard lessons learned or anything like that that when you sat down to start working on an album, you're like, we got to do things this way and not kind of not repeat this process again, or we need to
Mhm.
try something new.
Yeah, I think for this record, a big thing was sometimes less is more. And sometimes like, well, not sometimes. I guess pretty much with every band, you will overanalyze your work because it's your work and you want it to be perfect. Um, so I think in that last EP, it was a lot of like we think we know what we want it to sound like, but we don't really know because we're not producers. We don't mix stuff. We don't, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think this time trusting the process and really like I think for us was a lot of it was trimming the fat on these songs. You know, not having a 45-second intro. And like really just getting to the meat and bones of what you want to say because like rarely are people going to listen top to bottom. So you really got to like be able to hammer it out in 3 minutes, that point you want to get across, and make that listener want to come back for more. So I think
Has
that
it
was probably the biggest lesson. Yeah.
collaboratively collaboratively, you guys as a band, are there are you all kind of like on the same page constantly? Are there fights that break out, or you can kind of vibe off each other? How's the relationships?
They're great. Yeah. As far as like overall relationships, you want to go writing, you want to go, I
Yeah.
think, oh yeah, overall relationship is amazing. I think touring, like I said, everybody runs hot and cold on tour. Everybody's stressed. I think at the end of the day, like when we hit that stage, when we get in to load in, everybody's a team. Everybody knows that. And for writing, I think no other group of guys has been on the same page in this project yet, until now. So it's like been a relief, that everybody kind of sees the vision, and like now that we have such a catalog behind us, we have something to build off of.
No, yeah, that's awesome. When it comes to playing the live show, favorite song to play live, is there one?
Oof. Yeah, that's a hard one. I would say right now it's still honest for me. We've been coming out to that one, so like just coming out on like super high energy, has been great for us. I think energy is like the one thing that we try to set ourselves apart with, when we hit the stage too. Is just having the highest energy at all points of the set. So yeah, that one definitely sparks it off for sure.
Nice. That's that. Yeah, I could see how that's a great opener for a set.
It used to be our
100%.
closer, and I don't know, we changed it this year, and I'm like, wow, I
Oh,
can't believe we picked it as an opener. It's so good.
what were you closing with then? The first time you used that as the opener?
So when we were using, well, we're using Honest as the opener now. We're closing with Jet Skis, but we used
Okay.
to close with Honest, and we would open with an old song called Hope, off
Oh.
the Transparent EP.
As what so what goes in when you're coming up with a set list? Like how do you decide, no, we're gonna leave that one off tonight. Let's do this one instead. Like
Um,
is there a lot of arguing and trying to put together a set list when you guys
that's
go?
yeah, that's probably the most arguments you're gonna get in our band is, when you get down to the set list. Especially at this point, like we all have some of our favorites, and now with the new stuff coming out, like we really need to get the new songs on there, and we're not able to play 45 minutes every night. So we've come up with like first half of 2025 set list, which we're going to be going through like the end of this month, and then we'll repick together with, we have a Patreon, so we're going to have our patrons help us pick them too. Um, I'd say like there's probably three or four on every set list that can't move. That's just like the Spotify ones, the ones that are the top on
Hmm.
Spotify, um, and that people want to hear all the time. So like, yeah, I would say the arguments definitely go there. That when you can only pick 8 songs and you have 20, you know.
Uh yeah, that's I've thought about that a lot of the time, especially when I'm at a concert and I either hear a song, I'm like, I can't believe they played that one. That's awesome. I'm like, I can't believe they didn't play that one. Son of
Yeah,
a bitch.
yeah, especially like when you're seeing like people open on big tours too, and they're like a decently sized band. You know, they have a couple hours of music and they can
Mhm.
only squeeze 30 minutes, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, that's gotta be tough.
you're bound to piss some people off for
Yeah.
sure.
Uh so what's in store for the rest of 2025? Is it building to the full length and then touring on that?
Yeah, we have weekenders just about every month, and then we're doing like an East Coast run, that we're locking in right now for October. So yeah, we're gonna constantly be on the road, hitting new cities this year, and the album should be out sometime in the fall. Should everything go perfectly smooth, on the
Nice.
back end.
Awesome.
But yeah, just gonna be building on that. Just keep trying to see new states, new cities, meet new people.
So is there some place you wanna all right. I had a fun one of the fun questions I have to wrap things up, but I just thought of a second one.
Yeah,
Uh ultimate place you want to play a show.
like venue
Yeah,
or
ultimate venue.
Red Rocks, 100%.
I don't that is literally what I had in my mind. I've never
Yep,
been there, but I want to be there so
me
bad.
either. Yeah, it's just the natural acoustics I've heard are just unbeatable. just something I want to experience, whether we get to play it or I just get to attend a show. But but yeah, I mean, if we were gonna play anywhere, that would be
All right,
a
to
spot.
piggyback on that, you guys are headlining Red Rocks. When the Sun Sets is blown up, you're bringing a few bands with you. Only 2 or 3. Who are you bringing? Or who do you want to play with there?
um, there's a really sick band that we love called Friend Circle, from New Jersey. Probably them. And then there's a couple cool bands from Chicago that we would definitely we would do. Four Stars is one of them. They've been our friends since we started, and I'd probably say like Action Adventure is one of my favorite bands. They're a Chicago band.
I know the name. That one I know.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, I'd probably say those.
Oh man, yeah, I want to go out to Red Rocks so bad.
Yeah, I saw they had a. Did you see that South Park show they had there? Oh
No,
man, it was like it was a live South Park performance, like
was it
where
really?
it was insane. I think it's on YouTube, but it's at Red Rocks, and it's the coolest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing all the voices,
Oh man, I
singing
might
all the
look.
songs.
I'll have to look that up along with Fluorescent.
Yes.
Um, I want to go back to a couple of the songs. Undertow is the latest out. Really into Undertow. How'd the collaboration with Definitely Maybe come about for that one?
A little easier than you'd think. I'm in Definitely Maybe. I play guitar in Definitely Maybe.
Ah,
So yeah. Just texting my vocalist and seeing if she would be down to work it with us. I think like it was a no brainer for sure with Definitely Maybe though, because their entire mission is mental health based too. They have a great story, with how they started, and they're a husband and wife band, so that's awesome as well. Like I love that.
like I probably should have looked into that more because I knew the name when I saw Definitely Maybe. That was a band name I had heard, but again, I
Yeah,
haven't delved into the catalog that much.
yeah, you'll have to check them out. They really popped with one of their songs called "One More Night" on TikTok. That's where like they got a really big pop.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, you should check it out. They do have a pretty big discography as well, and I think they have a bunch of songs coming out too. So
Nice. Uh, I think I have an idea to the answer to this one of the more serious questions to kind of wrap this up. We talked a lot about mental health, kind of what it means to you and the band and the message you're trying to spread. Just the far-reaching awesomeness, I'll call it, of people that respond to it and share their stories. When people listen to your music, when the sun sets music, as now that you guys are getting more and more established with the full-length album coming out, what do you hope someone would take away from that, like the first time they hear it? Any
uh,
of
yeah,
your
I
music?
think any of our songs, even from the first song we put out, we want people to feel that they're never alone. Like it's a lonely world out there. It can feel lonely, but like truly, there is a support system around you, whether you see that or not. Like even in the worst of it, you really do have like a lot of people that love and care about you. So I think if we can have a song that just reaches somebody to realize that they're not alone, they don't have to struggle, or they don't have to struggle alone. I think yeah, that's probably the message we want to get out in every one of our songs.
Nice. Last question. I'm gonna wrap things up here. What are you currently listening to?
It's been a little all over the place. A lot of Paleface, which is a very heavy band. Paleface
Yeah.
Swiss.
Yep, not
Um,
unfamiliar with them.
yeah, they're like a very heavy like deathcore band. Been listening to a lot of Hot Mulligan.
I think they just announced a new album, right?
Yes, they did. They did. And then there's another band called Sleep Theory. They kind of popped out of nowhere over the last year. Like kind of a new
Sleep
metal.
Theory. I feel like I've at least seen that name.
Yeah, you probably have. They have absolutely blown up this last year.
I,
Um,
I think since Sleep Token has blown up, I've seen more sleep related band
yes,
names.
sleeper. Yeah, we should have been one of the sleep sets, dude.
When your eyes set.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you know what song I've had on repeat since it came out just a few weeks ago? The new Atari song, Car Song.
Oh yes.
Dude, like that is it's so much better than I was expecting. Like I don't like it felt more like old school Ataris, and I've been
Hmm.
listening to it. I'm like, this song, this hits, man. This is good stuff. I can't wait to see what they're doing with their album. That'll be
Yeah, speaking of
I
like
don't know if it's later
throwback
this year.
bands too, I think another one that I missed was like Amber Pacific. They put out a record pretty
Oh,
recently, and yeah, that one has been.
I forgot about them. I don't think I've listened to them in years.
Well, I missed them when they actually were around. I just like I wasn't into pop punk yet, and like we ended up they came back last year, and they ended up coming through Chicago. We got to play with them, and like I got into them immediately. And I was just like, wow, I'm a late bloomer here, but this new record is like it's next level
Oh,
for sure.
another Chicago band I go to every once in a while from the pop punk scene, The Academy Is.
Oh yes, I
Like,
forgot they were from Chicago.
yeah, man. I caught them. There would used to be an awesome place in Poughkeepsie that I would go to for shows called the Chance Theater. Uh, I caught them. Did I catch them there? I think that's where I caught them. I've seen them once. Uh, Maybe they were playing with Plain White Tees. Actually, it was like almost a Chicago bill.
Oh wow.
But yeah, like I still go back. Like I followed William Beckett for a while after that one because he put out a solo album. I think after the band broke up,
Hmm.
and it just even his solo album was awesome. Like I'm disappointed he didn't keep going. Like I have
Yeah,
no idea what he does now, if anything.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, so much stuff that has come out of Chicago.
It's crazy. Yeah, like I said, forgot the Academy is was from there. There's a lot of bands you forget that are from Chicago once they get to a certain point, you know?
Yeah. Um, and a shout out to a local band I love here. Erie is just the name of them. ERIE. Awesome indie rock band. They put out their new album that I a couple months ago, but I still have it rotated in the catalog, like when I hit the exercise bike and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, Albany has a great music scene.
Have you checked out What Makes Sense?
No.
I think they're from Poughkeepsie. Yeah, they've been around just as long as we have. I think they're awesome pop punk band from right out that way.
What makes sense?
Yep, yeah, you got to check them out.
I'll write that down. Actually, I don't know. Do you remember Matchbook Romance? Were you ever into them?
Yes,
They
yes,
were from Poughkeepsie, but they broke up after like 2 albums, I think.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think What Makes Sense is still they're still kicking it hard, and they're from Poughkeepsie, so that's the only reason I know how to like pronounce that.
it's I was talking to I posted an episode with this San Francisco punk band, their lead singer earlier this week. I was talking to him and I mentioned Schenectady because that's the name of the actual town I'm in. And just every time someone hears that for the first time and they try to pronounce it, it's a fail. Like it's awful. Like I talked Sharia Moore from Maryland. I had them on the
Oh my
podcast a
gosh,
while ago.
we
And
love Sharia Moore.
yeah, those guys were great. And he's like, "What? How do you?" One guy had a job delivering packages either at the time or earlier. He's like, "I've seen that on a label. How the hell do you see?"
I've seen that on a label. I love that.
But yeah, man, you guys are making some awesome music, and I can't wait for this full length.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, we'll send it to you when we get it. As soon as we get that. Waiting on a couple more masters. We're
What
good to go.
is there going to be a big social media blitz for it? Will there be like CDs, merch,
Yeah, yeah,
vinyls,
we're gonna
things
do
like that?
CDs, merch, vinyls, the whole 9 yards for it.
But that's awesome, man. You guys are making some awesome music. And I think that's gonna wrap up this episode, man.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, for real. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Appreciate your time.
absolutely. Thank you again for doing this. Big thank you, Zach. When the Sun Sets, vocalist of Chicago, Illinois punk band. Appreciate you taking the time to hang out. It's been super fun. If you're not doing it already, go follow all of When the Sun Sets social media pages. Check out their tunes on any of the streaming platforms you use. You're missing out if you haven't done it yet. Keep an eye out for their full length later this year. Anything else you want to throw in there?
I think just remember you're never alone. That's the big thing, the whole mission. So
That's true. Yeah. Don't hesitate to talk to friends, professionals.
yep.
And just a quick note, thinking along those lines, I do during COVID, I started with a couple buddies a different podcast about movies. And because we weren't doing anything, we had a lot of free time, popcorn and pints, and we still do it. I don't even know how long it's been now, but every Saturday we watch movies. We get together every Saturday, and we started a group chat, Facebook group chat, and people have been added to it over time, just like other cool podcasters. And
Mhm.
yes, it's full of dick and fart jokes, and stuff we wouldn't say as we're doing streaming,
Yeah,
because we're a diverse group, so we like to make jokes about it. But
yeah,
it's also turned into kind of a male support group at times when people have problems, and that's been awesome to have.
yeah.
So
I love when people do that and open up communities on either Facebook or just text chats. Anything that creates that sense of community, like we were talking about.
yeah. So anybody listening, don't hesitate to ask friends for help or share your issues, man.
Hundred
Definitely.
percent.
Huge thank you to everyone out there for checking out the show. You can follow Stories from a Book. Stories from a Book. I read that wrong. Like I was gonna say on Facebook, and then it just blended together. You can follow Stories from a Bar on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Stories FAB. I refuse to call it X. I maintain that, and I will as long as I have to use that service. So keep up with everything going on with the show. You can find Stories from a Bar on all major podcast platforms. So be sure to like, subscribe, even more importantly, leave fantastic reviews, share the hell out of it, and cheers.